Herzlich willkommen hier aus Unterföhring, der Heimat von meinem Bowling-Shop, zu unserer neuen Ausgabe unseres Emax Talks, Live-Talk, hier mit unserem Gast Mika Koivuniemi. Er ist 14-facher Titelträger auf der PBA-Tour, 10-facher Titelträger auf der European-Tour. Ich möchte behaupten, der erfolgreichste europäische Bowlingspieler Mika Koivuniemi aus Finnland und jetzt in, oh, I forgot where you've located right now.
Dubai.
Im Moment in Dubai und ich freue mich sehr, ihn begrüßen zu dürfen. Hi, Mika.
Hi, Manuel. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I really appreciate our invitation that you join us here in our stream. The people ask for you also. You're one of the most famous European bowlers. You're, I think, the most successful European bowler in the world right now, and your path in bowling starts long ago. I think beginning 90s. If I'm right.
Yeah, my first big international win was 1991 when I won the FIQ World Championships Masters Gold in Singapore. And first time I bowled for the Team Finland youth team was 84, 85, something like 85, I think so.
When I was like 2 years old. Long time ago. So it's and you keep successful for a very long time. Even in you're already kind of retired from professional bowling. So as you play tournaments, but not a lot. So you're kind of retired. So, but still, in your last years, you've been very successful. I remember the title here, the Track Open, was one of your last ones.
One of my last one. Actually, the track tournament in 2015 was my last tournament before I officially retired. Because few weeks after that, I took a job here in United Arab Emirates as a head coach. I moved here in early August 2015.
So, and you're still head coach and of two national teams, right?
I'm a head coach of the UAE national team. So basically, it's the men's team and also ladies team, but it's we have 4 to 6 ladies. But also I oversee the youth and whole program here.
Okay, so we are, before we get deeper into the conversation, we are waiting for some more guests. We are at the moment 25 viewers. I say hello to anybody like Bianca, Manfred, Simon, Franzi, Michael, alter Schwede ist wieder da, Marfe, Sebastian, Marcel, Alex. Julian wird wieder für euch moderieren. Julian will moderate in the chat. And so let's for me interesting was you moved to the US in one point of your career. Were you that sure that you get successful as a bowler, or was it a risk move for you?
It was totally a risk move, but I won 1991. I won that World Championships. So like 8-9 months before that, I just bowled. I quit my job as an electrician and see how good I can get in the bowling. And I was doing good after the World Championships, win in Finland, some Europe, some Asia tournaments. After doing that like 4 or 5 years, I felt like I need to do something. And of course, during my travels around the world, I met some guys from US, especially Patrick Healy. And he just come to US and he started to talk to me. And first I went to bowl those mega bucks tournaments in mid 90s, and they were really big ones.
Yeah, they paid really good, right?
They pay really good. There was 100,000 for first ones, and there was a lot of money, all the brackets and sweepers and so on. And then we decided that we're gonna move to US and see how good I really am. So first day of January 96, we moved to US. And first my thought was just to bowl all the amateur tournaments, because PBA started to go down that time, and there was a lot of money in different kind of so-called amateur tournaments.
That was also the time when Tim Mack were really good in international amateur tournaments, right?
Yeah, Timmy started to get good, but like Chris Barnes was probably one of the best, Patrick Healy, Mike Newman, there was plenty of the guys, Robert Smith, a lot of guys who were really good in US, and they did travel something, but there was so much more tournaments and money to make in US, so none of these guys really even think about going for the PBA tour at that time.
But in that time also, there were really good ones in the PBA, like Mike Albee, like Pete, like Brian was, like I don't know who else was really big. Parker, sure, yeah. Walter Ray.
Yeah.
They made enough money, but so what was the point when you see, okay, I go to the PBA?
I did play like 2-3 years there as an amateur, and then 98 the Megabucks start to have all kind of problems, because they realize that same guys winning most of the money. They start to put some restrictions, and 98 Patrick Healy, Chris Barnes, Robert Smith, I think, and 3-4 other guys, not so famous names, they joined the PBA. And I remember watching one TV show. There was Chris Barnes, I think Healy was, and Rudy Kasimakis, those guys who I used to bowl in US and doing okay, playing against them. 3 of them make the show. So I think, wow, maybe I should really try it and see how it goes. And about a year later, I was joining the PBA. I joined May 99 for the PBA. Actually, my last tournament before going to PBA was here in UAE, Abu Dhabi tournament. It was a really big tournament here. It was like 55,000 first and 35,000 second place and so on. And actually, I finished second here. Then I went straight for the PBA school, and then for the first tournament I ever played. But
back then there was exemption. You have to have exemption, right? Or have to earn an exemption?
Not that time. It was, like I say, PBA wasn't doing too well that time. There was first prize most of the time under 20,000. But your ball contract, there was pretty big bonuses still. So if you make the show, you probably can make more money than prize fund if you made the show that time for the ball contracts. And I signed with the Ebonite back then in 97, and when I joined the PBA, my contract moved over as a PBA contract. So I always tell the story. 99, I was like 4 months, I was amateur. I did well in the Megabucks, I did well here in UAE. I made like $90,000 profit for the first 4 months as an amateur player. And then I bowled the rest of the PBA season. I made 18,000 for the last 8 months. So, but
kind of
we
hard.
all know, but we knew that all the Megabucks, team challenges, every good tournament back in US was kind of going down that time. So it was right move, and I think it was the right move to me to go and see how the PBA works and learn that.
Yeah. When did you realize this is the future in the PBA?
I think when the new owners came in 2000, I think
the Microsoft. They were related to Microsoft.
Yeah, 3 executives from Microsoft, they parted. I didn't even know how bad shape PBA was when I joined it. But then those guys took over, and they hired the great people to running it, and then it started to look much better. And all the promises they make us, some of them went through, some of them didn't. But these three gentlemen, they invest a lot of their own money there.
Yeah.
And try to make it better.
And then you became pretty fast Major Mika. I think your first titles get major titles.
Yeah, in 2000, just over a year, I was at PBA. I won my first title as APC Masters, back then USPC Masters nowadays. And that was interesting. I beat Pete Weber in a final match by 1 pin, so it was memorable win. And like just over a year later, I won the US Open 2001 as a top seed, and I bowled against Patrick Healy, who was my roommate back then, and we were still good friends.
So
I was the first player ever to win first 2 titles, both of them majors.
Yeah. So you got Major Mika and the Big Finn, and they started creating a star out of you, especially I think for the European market, and they try to get you harder than you are from the outside perspective. We know each other now for also like 10, 12 years, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. When you see on the AMF screens, I think was it where when you make like a 5-bagger, yeah. But was it? Did they talk about this? How to create an image for you, or was it just trying and fishing in the sea and hoping?
So when the new owners took it PBA over, we had like 2 days, like a media and consultation for the great company, and they tell me what to do and try to create image and do your role play or whatever you want. But you don't have to do anything what you don't want to. But they want us to be more like us, and that's when like Pete Weber started wearing glasses and doing all his stuff, and
he was pretty much created out of this situation.
Yeah, he loved it too. So he was always character, and like 2002 to 2005-06, like me and Patrick Allen, they tried to create a rivalry between us, and they tried to push it that. And I remember one time we bowling some TV show, we working 2 hours before TV, so hour before we working our new bowling balls, we usually drill before the show. On the same table, there's probably nobody else in paddock, and we said, "You want to do something today? Let's do something." It's like, and they, of course, when you put the bowling shoes on, you don't have friends anyway. But probably if we don't agree, we don't go that far in that situation. But it was
funny.
We were friends out of the lanes, but even people think we really hate it when we bowl each other. That was part of the marketing of the PBA and marketing of the sport, I guess.
Yeah. So we have the first question. Marfi asked. It's German, so I will translate it. How often do you come back to Finland, and how is your? Do you do winter sports as a Finn? As a Finnish man?
When I used to live in US, I went back to Finland once every year, once every 2 years, not too often. And then when the schedule changed, I started to go more often, when especially playing the Ballmaster Open, like 2009 or 2010, starting there. And when I was a kid back in Finland, yes, I did. I play ice hockey. I cross-country skiing a little bit, but ice hockey was the main thing for me as I was a kid. I grew up in the city, what was basically hockey town in Finland back then. We have many teams. We had actually 3 teams in National League that time for our city.
Okay. Then the same question: did you ever try curling? I don't know what this question is, but I just ask.
No, never. I didn't even know that exists properly that time.
Then there was one tournament back in, I don't know the year exactly. I think it was 2011, 2012, the Tournament of Champions, where you won against in the finals for the 250K, when the mission domination the name was changed to the 250K, and you played against Tom Dougherty. So Charles asked, what do you think about Tom Dougherty's 100? Wasn't it a weird situation for you?
It's weird situation. You don't really, like, actually for me, I never really paid too much attention what happens. And I just try to focus to do my best and make them to beat me. I'm not too worried about what other people do. I know if I bowl in my level and do well, they have to beat me. So I don't want to keep anything free for anybody. But I remember watching up in we have a commercial break, maybe 3 minutes, whatever. I look up and see the scores. I have to look. I start to calculate, but I cannot lose anymore. It's like, it was a weird feeling. I cannot. Even I split every frame of it, I cannot lose. Yeah. That was weird feeling, but I still try to focus what I was doing. And Tom shoot in 100. It's actually much more difficult to shoot 100 the way he shoot when I ball 299, because he never missed a head pin in the first ball. Okay. In the second ball, he always get at least one pin. He never miss everything in the second ball. If you think about it, you hit 10 times the head pin and at least get one for the spare ball. It's really difficult to ball 100 game that way. So
yeah.
But of course, it's nice to be in the history rest of as long bowling is gonna be. Nobody gonna beat that.
No, I think there are so many records breaking in this game, especially the 199 pins difference.
Yeah.
I think that was the lowest game on TV.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy. But I saw an interview from Tom when he says that was the best situation to bowl the 100. But when I bowled it before, I would never go to the finals.
Yeah.
So he took the best out of it. So
yeah, he took it the right way. Yes.
Yeah.
Like he didn't bowl 100 game. He bowled better game than 100. Yeah, but still not great game, but.
So actually, Alter Schwede comes in. He has just paid his dues to us, because we have a phrase pig where we put I'll show you now. It's Ziggy, where we put the money in and make it for youth bowling, and so he just pays 20 euros for it. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And then he asked it, in your opinion, who's currently the most talented of the European players? And there are a lot of them at the moment.
There is much more for certain. When I started playing in PBA and start to do my thing, who is the most talent? It's tough. For me, there's two guys. They both are talented, and they're a little bit different. Let's say I like Jesper Svensson a lot. I don't know how much it's talent, how much it's hard work, but I really like that how well he uses opportunities. Like when he was 18, 19, 20, young guy, almost every time when he has his shot or his opportunity, almost every time he won. And that's a sign of the great player.
Yeah.
And other one I really like is Tom Barrett. He's really talented. He can do many things, much more versatile than Jesper, but lefty and righty you cannot really compare for that.
And there was, I think, when you see 2 years ago, a lot of guys in the world say Tom Barrett is the best not two-handed bowler in the world. A lot of them tell this.
Yeah, he's really good also, and it's great to see that more and more guys from Europe is getting in the PBA and starting to do better and better. So it's great.
Then it's not meant evil, but I like your surname. How pronounce the name?
So how to pronounce my name? I know how to Chris Pass would answer for that because he made me that one shirt.
The pink shirt, yeah.
Yeah, but it's Koivuniemi.
So it's how you write it. It's exactly how you write it. Huh?
Yeah, you pronounce it all the I's and E's like Spanish. If somebody knows Spanish, it's not. You just pronounce every letter. Like in Finland, you always pronounce every letter.
Okay. Then comes Ines ask if you have the legend, the style shirt from Chris, or do you still have it?
No, I don't have it. Actually, me and Chris, we had these bets few times, and I had to wear those pants one time, and same with this shirt. But we both times after the TV shows, we kind of auctioned them off for the charities.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with them anymore.
Yeah. Are you still in contact a lot with guys like Chris and all these guys? You were traveling a lot.
Yeah, I'm still contact, especially with the Chris, probably more than anybody, but not as much I used to be. But once a while we talk, once a while we chat, and a couple of other guys. And if some of my friends who we used to travel and play a lot, if they're doing well in the PBA, of course I send some messages and congrats them. And
what are you? So you're now in UAE, and what are your plans for the future? You like to coach? You want to do it more often or longer? So what are your expectations for the next 10 years? Let's say.
Hopefully about 10 years, if I could find a good coaching job, so staying here, whatever. I really like to be here, and hopefully I will stay here longer. And that's my passion is in coaching right now, and seeing these young kids getting better, and hopefully get my advice for them when they start to get even better and better, and use my experience, what I gain in my career, and try to help them. That's something I love to do. But I still have that passion to bowl myself. So that's why I've been bowling 3 to 5 tournaments every year, even in a PBA Senior 2 or PBA 50 or something. And I still, as long I feel I can win, I keep bowling some tournaments. And it's hard to go and push yourself to train, because I don't want to go any tournament without being ready.
Yeah, Eric asked, are you going to play a full PBA 50 schedule?
Absolutely not. It's as long as I have a coaching job, so I have limited vacation days a year. So like this summer, right now, almost I should be going for the PBA in Las Vegas to play those PBA 50 Masters and US Open, what I've been doing last couple of years. But basically just those 2 tournaments in senior. Coaching is my job, and that's what I have to do.
Did you who do you think is the next big gun from UAE or this area who you coach? Is there somebody breakthrough, or do you see somebody really good?
There is in this area a couple of pretty good young talents, but it's here the parents and everything else, they push the people more for the studying and everything else. So many good players, they going to overseas to study, and the bowling kind of stops or take a back. that time. And same here in UAE and other Gulf countries. But there's a lot of good youth talent, and there's a couple of really nice guys here also in UAE. A couple of them left the country also, but I was thinking could get really good. And we don't have as many two-handed players, and who knows if you need to be 210 years from now or not. Who knows? Maybe when there's almost everybody is two-handed, maybe you have to have different talent. Who knows?
What do you think about this technique? I mean, back in when you go now 15 years ago, nobody could. You could, because Oscar was already good back then. But when you go 20 years back, nobody would expecting two-handed bowling. And now 20 years later, the best in the world is two-handed.
Yeah, Belmont has been dominating last 6-7 years in the world for sure. So, and that will get more and more young players for doing the two-handed. And PBA Tour, you can see more and more two-handers. So there's no way to stop it.
What do you think?
I think it's not. I think it's that if that's the best way for you to knock them down, it's fine. I never had anything against it. I know some people think it's not fair. It's two-handed bowling is not easier than one-handed ball. Maybe it's a little bit easier to get certain level, but to be in the top of the world, it's not easier to be two-handed or one-handed player.
But I think it's also a tactical thing. I think I remember back in some World Bowling finals when you were in the finals, Belmo and Sean, and you destroyed pretty much the middle part of the lane to force him to go right. And then you say, because there, they need to beat me. Inside, okay, I have to beat them, but outside, they have to beat me. And is this a tactic, or is this maybe to get into this, to work with the situation? It is what it is. You don't get a two-handed bowler. You don't move left.
Yeah, I remember the situation well, and it comes up once in a while. It was World Bowling Tour finals, and I was leading the points a lot. And then World Bowling decided to put the longest pattern. So I had the lowest rev rate, so I felt like it's not fair for me. So I took like game plan that I will lower the scoring pace, even force them so deep, or come to play more right and straighter angles. But I decided I will not make the lanes easier for them, because my chance is going down if you do that, because their carry percentage is higher, especially how the side kicks nowadays are.
Yeah.
And I think if bowling someday goes back with the more dead side kicks, two-handed players and high rev rate guys, it's not so dominating anymore. But right now we see the pins flying left and right all the time. Gives more advance for creating the power than be more accurate.
And that's the first time so you think it's because of the kickbacks?
Yes. How the pins going left or right. If we have a bowling center what side walls are dead, you don't see so often the power players dominating the tournaments.
I mean, they are then wood or what? I don't know.
Dead because they are so lively. The pins are flying left and right, much more right now. But if you go to bowling center, it's really old and really soft. So when the pins hit the sidewall, it doesn't come back. They they rely to getting the head pin the sidewall and taking the pin out. They don't rely to hitting high pocket. They can be light and make sure that head pin gets there. But if the sidewall is dead, it's not bouncing back there. If you have to get 10 pins straight back to strike, then the power, you still will need power, of course, but it's not dominating anymore. That's how I think.
So now there's a question that is really interesting. I just talk around it to come back to the question. So when you won the Tournament of Champions back in 2011,
Yeah.
Was it 11? Yeah. So you pretty much after this, you had to use open where you bowled against Norm. So you were on a flow run like this, and then you bowled against Norm, and then you missed the 10-pin. So he asked what you yelled, but this is not important, I think, because I don't think this is you free. And but the interesting thing on this question: how long does it take to recover from that, or doesn't it? No, I think you feel it, but how long does it take to recover from this?
Yeah, I don't remember what I yelled, and I never watched that show afterwards. But if you miss what happened after I missed that, I probably swear in Finnish for sure.
Yeah.
And how long it took recovery? Long time. It's the first night I stayed in New York. My family flew over and we stayed in New York. I didn't sleep any. So then we get back. Then we get back to Michigan. Actually, Barnes came also with us because however, we traveled that time. We went to Buffalo after that. So I get home. I get so drunk. I make sure I fall asleep the next day. After that, it was a little bit easier. But still, let's say till I get to Hall of Fame last year, a year and a half ago, it got under my nerves sometimes. If somebody, I know how you felt. I missed the 10-pin in the league or something. It's like, no, you don't know how it feels.
It's different when you lose it with a US Open title than in a 10-pin.
Yeah, it's the biggest title what you can win. Of course, I'm lucky to have that title before, but you make mistake and you pay for it, and it haunts you. But I don't see bad dreams about it, nothing like that. But still, I'm okay with now. I know what I did and why it happened, and something I cannot take back.
Yeah, but that's sport. That's a classical sport loss. It hurts emotionally, but that's when you play sports, one guy loses, one guy wins. It's every time. Sometimes you are the winner, sometimes the loser. But I think anybody has to learn that this is just an sport. It's a passion, yes, but you don't lose your life because of this.
Yeah, it's a sport, but it's also all the income for our family. But wasn't too worried about money that situation that time, because I just won 250,000 and I was getting 30,000 masters and 10,000. I was doing really well in money wise, but losing the biggest title, that was really hard for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And especially when I've always felt I was one of the best spare shooters, and you make mistake in the spares.
Yeah.
And we had 2 tournaments after that, the season. And it took hard for me. So I calculated, I never miss any spare after that. Yes, splits, but like even I left 1 or 2 washouts, I make them. I didn't have the whole 53 games. I didn't have any missed spares rest of the season. Not 6-3, not 7-2, not 8-1, not 9 missed, nothing. So it was important for myself to prove that I am still really good. I didn't let that bother me, and I make more sure that I make every spare after that.
Yeah. So Bianca says something. She says, if you like the videos, viewers, just do a thumbs up. And if you don't subscribe to our channel now, you can do it now and press the bell if you want to get notified when we have guests like Mika, the PBA legend, PBA Hall of Famer. So when I go to the PBA Hall of Fame, you get invited last year or 2 years ago?
2019, yes.
Yeah, last year.
Last
So
year.
when do you get informed about this? And do you feel it is a pleasure that I'm a European or Finnish guy in the PBA Hall of Fame? Or is it just, okay, hey, yeah, I made it. Do you feel as a European in this thing? Because you get in history books as the first European guy in the PBA Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was really, really big deal for me. Of course, with my resume, I think I should go first ballot like I did and all that stuff, but you never know when it's voting. And I'm really, really proud to be first European there and second international after Amuletto Monacelli. Those are, for myself, they are big honors. And I feel like I'm best ever from Europe who was ever playing. Of course, it's difficult to compare the different time eras like any other sport, but that's how I feel, and I feel I deserve to be there, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, but because back in your time, especially beginning 90s, Thomas Lee Anderson, Goran Karlsson, Tore Torgersen, there were a lot of Europeans good enough for the PBA, but they didn't do. So you did it, you risk it, and you get a reward for it. I see it that way. And you had, when you see it in a really good terms, you had the balls, and you got the glory. I just say.
Oh, I was stupid enough to try it either way, but but it was something I always dream about it when I was a kid, but I really never thought it's gonna happen. But
yeah,
you need to meet right people, right time. It's not only for you. You need to have the right coaches. You need to have the right people behind you. Also, it's not just throwing the bowling ball.
Yeah. Charles, make an interesting question. Why do you think Vermont is so dominant? It cannot be only raw power because some of the other guys can match him in that regard.
No, it's not only the power. And Belmont is getting smarter and smarter how actually he's lower his power for whenever 5, 6, 7 years ago. He worked hard. I think Belmont works hard. I don't know exactly how much he works, but it's also the mental. He's really, really strong in mental. He believes what he's doing, and that's a big part. And he knows he can strike. We all have to think we know we can strike when we need it, and we can throw the good shots. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes, but as long as the percentage is your side, you are usually pretty good. And I think Belmont's percentage is pretty good.
Yeah. So Alex asked a question. You were at the World Championship in Paris from the youth last year?
Yes, I was coaching there, yes.
How do you like it? And what do you think about the scoring system? What they tried?
I have 2 boys from UAE there. It was great experience for us. And the whole tournament, I like it. First time I see, of course, it's first time ever for the juniors. I think it was pretty good tournament, scoring. I'm old school. I like the scoring what we have. I think we have other things what we need to fix in bowling before the scoring. But whatever the scoring is, the best find a way to be the best. If we change the scoring, it doesn't change who will be the best.
Yeah.
The best will adapt, and they find a way how to be the best.
Yep. What do you think? I come to the. What do you think is parts what bowling has to fix?
If I knew that, I probably would not coaching. I probably would do something with the word bowling or something. But
okay.
There's many. There's no just one thing. I think the change in the image somehow it's a big. Still, too many people around the world doesn't think that bowling is a sport.
Mm-hmm.
And how we change that image, I think that's the biggest problem for bowling.
Do you think when the Fox deal with the PBA came in, and now the new ownership with Bolero, do you think it's positive? Because I now watch PBA. Actually, for the last 10 years, I didn't, just some finals on YouTube. But now I really watch it because it's getting interested. Recreating stars like Simmons and Bemo, also with Brett and Kyle with the YouTube channel. They do a great job. So do you think it's the right way?
I think the Fox Sports Channel deal was really, really big for the PBA. And the new owners, I think it was about time to do something, and time will tell if they are the best possible owners. I'm not involved with the bowling anymore, the PBA so much. I don't really have all the insight. But what I talked with few guys, everybody seems to be really happy. So I take their word for that. And yes, I like the shows. When I watch few of them, they look good. And seems like Fox Sports is putting their time and effort to make it look good, do it the right way. I don't think the ESPN was so much involved anymore last few years. So it was something that PBA needed for sure.
Yeah, I think with the how to visualize everything with the Kegel system, with the I think they use Specto, and then the lightning system from the top. It's a really good thing to show the people. Then you have the blue oil and everything, and blue oil was it back in your career?
Yeah, there was last couple of years when I was in the PBA. They used the blue oil in the TV shows. And
how do you like it?
It doesn't really matter for me. Only thing, your shirt was ruined because you couldn't get it out of your shirt. That was the worst part of that. So it's not something you can use in public places. And all the parents in TV still look like house parents, basically. Even it's not, because you have to have so much oil before the blue really coming up. And I think especially in the beginning, when the blue oil came out, it make people move left or whatever, move away from the dry spot faster than they would move without seeing it. Even there was not too much blue left, there was still a lot of oil and a lot of push in the front, but a couple of people made mistakes, I guess, because of the blue oil early.
Okay. Before I come to some other questions after, I have some questions that I ask every guest that we have, and it's just short answers, and we will see what comes out from you. So what is your favorite food?
I would say steak is my favorite food.
Okay.
I'm your a big favorite steak lover.
Oh, yeah, me too. Your favorite beverage?
Red wine.
I knew that. Your biggest win?
It's difficult to put like US Open, Tournament of Champions, and Masters, all my major wins. They all have so big influence for everything. Masters was my first PBA win. US Open, I think, is the biggest title you can win in the PBA or professional bowling, and Tournament of Champions was so big tournament back then. So I cannot pick one.
Fail? Yeah. What is your biggest fail?
My biggest fail, missing 10 pin.
Yeah, I can imagine. Then an interesting one. If you had $1 billion, what would you do?
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Hopefully I fix this COVID-19 somehow, and that's it.
Who was your idol in the youth?
I really never had a big idol myself. I knew who Pete Weber was when he was young, and I was younger than him. And I never really have, maybe a couple of Finnish people I'll watch a little bit, but I never really was fan of anybody.
So then the next one, your idol now is really, it's not.
I really enjoy to watch few people. Like I enjoy great performance with a couple of guys. Like I could say I was fan of Tommy Jones when he won the tournament as a 300, like 15 hours after he won, got inducted in the PBA. Those are things what gives me the goosebumps. So, but it's not just
cannot write this. You cannot imagine something like this.
Right. It's not like I'm fan of somebody, but it's situations like that. I'm a big fan.
Who's your biggest supporter?
It has been my family for sure.
Yeah. Your best buddy on tour?
Chris Pass, unfortunately.
Your favorite sport besides bowling?
Hockey, ice hockey has to be growing up in Finland, watching Finland, watching NHL back in Michigan. It's around the US actually. I think I went like 10 different cities doing the PBA, watching the NHL.
Okay. I think it's pretty different than European ice hockey.
It is. It's especially nowadays. It's so fast.
Yeah. So that's the interesting one for me. What would you do different if you could start your bowling career again?
That's a really good question. I think I am who I am because all the mistakes I made on the way, but something I would do different, I probably try to work harder to keep my body better shape all the time.
Especially when you get older. I also feel it.
I always have some problems with my back and other stuff, but I wasn't bad shape ever, but if I would work even harder with my body, I guess I would have less pains, some tournaments, and maybe do better.
Yeah. So working on your body is what you would do different. Because Marshall Kent, he said if I could start again, he would start earlier to work on his mental game.
Yeah, I worked my mental game like since 1990, I guess, with professionals. Yeah,
that's pretty early.
Yeah,
when you imagine your career really is starting 91, 92. That's cool. When you've been professional, how big was your arsenal?
I cannot really answer for that. Every year when I was in PBA tour, I probably drill about 100 bowling balls a year. But my main arsenal was usually like 8 balls. And then there was different gaps, and different weeks I try to fill out those gaps, and sometimes the arsenal, new ball came out, it takes the different ball spot in the arsenal. But I think the main arsenal was 8 balls.
What I learned from you when you came into the pro shop, there's a tournament going, and you already had a big number. Then you go into the pro shop in my stock room. Okay, let's look what you have. Maybe I can fill this gap and this gap. I learned how you see the game. You're not looking for a good ball. You're looking for the ball that makes you unbeatable on this pattern. Right?
I never really look for, of course, in a PBA, sometimes scoring base high, you're looking for magic ball, but I always try to build my arsenal and trust my skills. I can make different things with my hand and speed or whatever tools you use. And I was never big fan just of one great ball. It's maybe sometimes was wrong, but I bet most of the time was right.
But you could sit back when you have like a big number, and you could sit back, okay, I have the Ray. No, you go to the pro shop looking for the ball, especially when you're here in Munich, and then maybe I can do something more. And that gives me the knowledge that I have now to say, okay, it's never enough. It's you can go for a higher number. Doesn't matter how good you are, how far in front you are. You can make it more when you have like a different shape, because you don't know.
Right, and tournaments like European Tour tournaments was back in Munich. It's like you try to imagine how the finals will be and what kind of reaction you might need for them. It's same way what I was thinking in the PBA, and sometimes you ball great score without having your best look or best shape. But during the finals, you want to have that better shape, because we always have better and not so good days. We are human beings. But if you have a even better look, you can do well in the finals, even it's not your best day.
Yeah. Mafe asks, what is your favorite in the balls? Is it like solid symmetric, pearl asymmetric? And what is your favorite all-time ball, if you have one?
I don't know. I early in my career, I was thinking never fall in love with one bowling ball.
Okay.
I never try to get too emotional or too close to any ball. So maybe it's more for the shape. I like some more control shape, of course, because I like most of the time with more difficult laying condition. You want to have more smoother, controllable shape. One of my favorite balls, V2 was one of them, 811 CT, 250K. There's few balls what I've been using a lot, but it's not meaning that it's always in my hand.
Yeah. Now we go to newer days. Alter Schwede asks, what are your opinions on the Brunswick EBI deal and how did it affect yourself?
It was surprise for me, like probably almost everybody else. Nobody knows what the reason is, the bottom reason. I don't know what is the bottom reason why that happened, but I'm happy that all the brands are still alive, including Track, what I still have a contract. And difficult to see. I know the Brunswick is doing everything to separate Brunswick and old EPI brands as a motion and the chemicals they're using and all that. So they're doing the right thing in my mind. Nobody needs 7 brands for same chemicals in my mind.
Yeah.
So they're doing the right way. So I'm excited about that. And is it good that we basically have 2-3 companies left in the bowling business? I don't know. Is that a good thing? Maybe I'd rather see more, but I think the competition between the brands is always good.
Yeah, competition helps in every sport and every business thing. Competition grows.
Right.
And do you remember back in 2010, the finals here in Germany, World Championships? I think this was one of the best bowling games I ever see in the 5-man team. You were pretty emotional there, and I think actually Finland loses against the States, but I don't think a lot of you feel it like a loss. It was more commercial for the sport than a loss. But was this just outside, or do you were really we lost back then?
Oh, yeah, I wasn't happy we lost, and I knew that time that that's gonna be my last game as a member of Team Finland. During that week, I make my decision. This is gonna be my last time I bowl for the Team Finland. And we get for the finals. I actually told that for my teammates that please help me doing this. This is gonna be my last time I played for Team Finland, and it was kind of like beginning. I was like, I didn't like the atmosphere, so I started to in the beginning, first 3-4 frames, 2-3 frames. It was like So I decided I need to start to do something, and then Patrick Allen was also in US team that time, and it was on after that, after a couple of frames and yelling and all that thing, and it's for sure it was a great for the sport. It was great for the sport. It was great match. It won for the 10th frame and anchor players in the 10th frame, and it's one of the memorable moments for my career for sure. And unfortunately, we didn't win, but it didn't sting as bad because we give all, and I ball good, and teammates ball good, and US does play better than we did, and they deserve to beat us that time.
Mm. So Alex asks, when you have youth players, female or male, doesn't matter, what would you recommend the way to get professional? If they want to get a professional, what they need to do?
Oh, I don't think there is just one right answer here. It's some people might be good to start to travel and playing a lot of tournaments early. Some people, they need to, I think, practice more. Some people learning a lot when they go those top college programs back in US. Some people, they don't stay too long and they don't feel it helps them. But my main thing is you have to work hard. Bowling is like any other sport. There's no shortcut. You need to work hard and study the game, study what the best are doing, why they're doing, how they do it. And either way, you need to have good people behind you, even coaches, some people who are helping you with different ways. So it's always a group of people.
In your prime or shortly before you get there, how often do you practice?
I practice probably more than anybody else, though. Almost more than anybody else ever. So I practice probably at least 6 days a week. When I moved to US and moved to Michigan, I start to practice in Turbo 2-in-1 grips. They have 2 private lanes. Mm-hmm. And they have the first Phoenix machine in Michigan there back in '96. And okay. I have a key that place and I could go there anytime I want. So I was there basically at least 5 or 6 6 days a week and practicing. It depends. Sometimes I practice 2 hours, sometimes I practice 5 hours a day. It depends. And learning and doing different lane conditions back then, doing everything. And even before that, like 1990, I stopped working as an electrician. I started to bowl a lot in Finland. So I think 1990 to 95, I bowl at least 1,000 tournament games a year plus practice.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
So I always bowl a lot, and that's a big part why I get so good for sparing, because I bowl tournaments a lot. I throw a lot of shots and try to learn that way too.
And a lot of people say your biggest strength is to loft the ball. So you can loft the ball that pretty much nobody else, especially when it gets tighter and you have to just, I don't see it over the gutter, but I mean, especially when you go more close the angles and then have to loft it. And Eric asked, it seems that you loft the ball often. What do you gain most in your game by lofting?
It's something I learned when I was young, I guess. Back in city where I grew up, we have 2 bowling centers, and I practice quite much for the smaller one. Back then, they resurface lanes like every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And there was a big track like between 3rd and 4th arrow. Like end of the 2nd year, you can feel, you can just the wood. There's no lacquer, nothing left there. It's in the front, and it's something I guess I learned young age. But when I getting better and better, I start to learn how to use as a tool, and I can get through the heads better. I can use stronger balls, straighter angles, whatever, to be able to create a good hit. So in early, it was part of my game when I was teenager, but later I learned how to use as my trick. And to be successful, you have to have some tricks, something you are really good. And when that works, you have to be able to use that in your advance.
Yeah, you cannot be good in anything. There's somebody who's better. But if you can do something really, really good, then... actually, last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked in our stream about you, because our relationship, what we had and what we did, and then you played in our team in the National League, and that we loved it a lot, because you take your time, and after the day you advise us what to practice. We were pretty young, it's like 10 years ago. And what was your intuition to play this league, and was it why was it?
It was fun experience. Fortunately it was only short time I could come over. Only I think one time I was playing, but I heard a lot about a German league, and it was great experience. There was a lot of good players and a lot of serious bowling. What I like, when you put your shoes on, you need to be serious, especially you bowl for the National League. It's not just for fun. You need to try to win every time. And it's, like I say, it was the group we had. I enjoyed the time we had. Probably not the most talented group for that time, but we have a lot of heart in our team, so I like it.
Yeah. Actually, when you played the day and you left the team, pretty much after the day, we were first. At the end of the season, I never told you, we go down because we got lost. So we went down in the second league, and it was really, I was crying a lot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, yes.
Yeah. I was like shy to tell you before. So there are not a lot of more questions, pretty much. We are already 1 hour in our conversation. Actually, if you like this video, to the viewers, just like it with a thumbs up. If you like the channel, you can subscribe. And for something, maybe Mika, you want to tell the people something, what is on your heart or whatever, just go ahead if you want.
Yeah, of course, we all hope this pandemic is gonna get under control and we can get bowling centers around the world as soon as possible. For me, I haven't been in bowling center like 2.5 months, and probably 40 years ago was last time I've been out of bowling center that long. So this is hard for everybody, and hopefully everybody stays safe and take care of themselves and be ready for bowling when everything's open up.
Yeah. So Mika, I really, really appreciate your time that you join us here. And if you would be here, I would be hugging you. So last time you see us was here to Track Open. And for me, you're one of the closest professionals I ever met. You're one of the nicest guys that I met in bowling. And I really like you. And actually, my son is named Mika, so...
Yeah, that tells a lot. Yeah, I always like it to come in Munich, and I really like our relationships in the beginning. It's been special for me too. So it was always fun to see you, and you were always helpful when I needed, and even I wasn't needed, you were still helpful. So it's great.
I tried my best.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a give and take, and I look forward to many more years. Maybe not for bowling, but we can drink some beer or wine if you're next year or we are in UAE or something. You never know what happens in the future.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for your time. Say hello to anybody, and thank you.
Okay, thanks, Manuel, and regards for everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.